All right, so by now, all of you are looking at setting 3v3 teams for defense for Grand Arena and trying to figure out what am I going to save for offense for this game mode. Oh, the struggle is real. I have been involved in so many Discord discussions already trying to figure this out. And this is the beauty of this game mode. It's something that I love is this has basically blown a hole wide open on what our theory crafting assumptions are. Now, there are some obvious parts of this 3v3 consideration. Like, who isn't going to set the Sith Triumvirate on defense? Like that, obviously, that's going to be the best trio in the game. There's probably others as well. I think you take your main meta defensive teams, for example, for Territory Wars, like your Night Sisters, your Bounty Hunters, and you're gonna figure out, okay, which two can I cut from this, and you're gonna set those on defense. So there's the obvious ones, but when you're looking at, I mean, most people are gonna be setting between, you know, between 6 and 10, even 11 for those of you who are over 4 million galactic power teams, and that really does make you dip pretty far into your roster. So what are going to be the sleeper characters? Who are those characters that are sitting on your bench that are going to be helpful for you on either offense or defense? In this video, I'm going to give you 10 such characters that I believe are going to be sleeper characters, 5 of them on offense and 5 of them on defense. Starting with defense, the first sleeper, and these are not in order, these are just, 5 defense, 5 offense. The first defensive character I think will be a sleeper is Jyn Erso. Now, this is going to work best with the Zeta on her leadership ability, but considering Jyn Erso with Baze and Chirrut, that protection game that she has will really benefit Baze. Rebel allies recover 5% protection whenever they gain a buff, and obviously between Chirrut and Baze, there's going to be a lot of buff gain there. And so Baze also, when you're dipping deep into your roster, Baze is pretty easily managed by a lot of characters, but when you're dipping deep into your roster, you only get 3 characters. He's going to become hard to get through. Next on the list, we got Kanan. Now, this will also definitely need that Zeta ability, but Kanan is actually, I mean, we've got so many good tanks in this game, and I think Kanan is often overshadowed because of a lot of these tanks, but Kanan in a Phoenix team works very, very well, and I don't think he necessarily would have to be in a Phoenix team. I'm not completely sold on what the ideal trio would be for Kanan. I'm kind of feeling like maybe we want to do Hera, Kanan, and Zeb, because you're probably going to be using Ezra somewhere else, but maybe you'll want to put your Ezra there. But Kanan could probably also work on a second string Jedi team, maybe under a Bastila leadership. He's very versatile with, because he can both benefit Jedi team synergies and he can benefit the Rebels and the Phoenix squad as well. So Kanan to me seems to be a really solid tank that you could use in defense for 3v3. I'm just not sold exactly on where that would need to go, but if you've got him farmed, and especially if you got a Zeta on him, I'd find a place for him because he's not easy to get through. And speaking of solid tanks, lest we not forget SonFat, who is also going to be an underrated character. Now, SonFat, like Kanan, I'm not 100% sure what 3 I'd want to put him with so far, but one thing I know for sure, SonFat, if you've got him geared up, and a lot of you will because he's so valuable in fleet, he used to be the tank in this game once upon a time. And so a lot of people, I think he could be a character that trips people up because you're not going to, you see SonFat, you see, one of the bugs, you're not going to want to send your best team at him. But when you're dipping deep into your roster for offense, it might be common for people to underestimate how difficult it can be to burn through SonFat and his taunt. If you're not going to have somebody that can dispel, you're going to be forced to go through him. And so I think SonFat could have a really solid place in the 3v3 defense. The number 4 defensive sleeper is Rex. Now, some people might say Rex isn't a sleeper. I feel like he is. He didn't seem super obvious to me in a 3v3 team, mostly because Rex is kind of squishy. So to me, I think it's pretty easy to burn through him. But then this composition was suggested to me. This was not my personal idea, but Rex with Wampa and Emphas Nest. That team composition could be dirty. Just dirty to burn through. And Rex brings the team together with the turn meter gain. That team, to me, could be a really solid go-to 3-man defensive team for Grand Arena. And so I'm going to put Rex here on the list for sleeper. And then finally, our last sleeper for defense is... I'm having a hard time saying it. Put her name up here. Her. That one. Yes, I know this is going against my moral character to suggest this. But, look, she's hard. With General Kenobi, she's good, okay? There's a lot of counters nowadays. But when you're dipping this deep into the roster, again, putting her with General Kenobi and then maybe throwing in another Jedi there... Maybe a Hermit Yoda just to really add icing on the cake. No DPS on that team, but man, would that be miserable to burn through. I think that will be a go-to defensive character, especially if you put a Zeta on her. I can't believe I just suggested that, but there it is. All right, and then looking at the offensive characters that are sleepers, in my opinion, and I'm really excited to throw Akbar out there as the first one. Akbar has a really cool leadership ability that I don't feel like has ever really had a chance to shine. It's had glimmers, like when Hermit Yoda first came out, because if you're not familiar with his leadership ability, anytime an ally uses, and it's any ally, not just rebels, uses a passive ability, or an ability that is not an attack, then a random rebel ally is called to assist. And so imagine putting Akbar with, say, Leia and C-3PO. That's going to give you a chance for some pretty awesome expose action. And then whenever C-3PO does anything, there's a 50% chance that Leia is going to be called to attack as well. So to me, that seems like a team that could really help burn through maybe a First Order team. A lot of the, assuming they don't have super high tenacity, but just having that amount of DPS from Leia combined with that exposed potential and Akbar's leadership ability, that team could be dirty. Next on the list, I got Zeta Savage Oppress. Now, this one, this is offense, but I feel like this could be offense or defense, so kind of take your pick. But putting Z Savage with, say, Zeta Maul, and then maybe another flex character there for Sith. Look, Savage, especially when you got a Zeta on him, he is really hard to burn through. That's a very survivable team. And also, from an offensive perspective, helping you gain those extra banners from having the health left over after the fact is very solid. I mean, and then you add the dodge, the evasion that comes with Maul's lead, and it becomes so hard to get through. Next, we got Night Sister Spirit. Spirit is kind of a Night Sister character that doesn't really get enough attention, I think. It usually tends to be probably the first out. I think if we had 6-man teams, or 6-woman teams, 6 gender-neutral teams, 6 character teams, we would have Night Sister Spirit in every Night Sister team, in my opinion. I think Night Sister Spirit is probably just frequently that first one out that doesn't quite make the team, but would still add a lot if we could add a 6th character. And so we're going to be dividing Night Sisters in half here, right? You're going to want to utilize probably a Saj lead and Talzin lead. And so using Spirit in there maybe for your offensive team could be a great way to make use of your Night Sister teams, maybe to counter other Night Sister trios. Next, we got Mission, and Mission is really, really, really awesome with Zalbar. And so this is going to be some pretty dope offense, my friends. If you've got these two farmed, which a lot of you, especially if you've been working on your Revan team, you're working on getting those Old Republic characters, you probably have Mission and Zalbar at 7 stars or close to. And so these two, I mean, they feed so much damage into the team. I am not 100% sure on who the go-to leader would be. If you do have Karth, Karth would probably be a great option, but I'm guessing most of you don't have Karth, and so the leadership spot of this team could be the big variable there. But one thing I know for certain is that Mission and Zalbar both have some amazing synergy together, and making use of them on offense will probably be to your advantage if you've got them farmed. And then the last sleeper character that you may want to take advantage of is Snips. Sokatano, the original version. Look, Snips has heal on her special ability, and she actually has some pretty dang legitimate offense that she brings to the table. Combine her with Anakin, and maybe one more third Jedi. Maybe put Kanan in there, or some other Jedi tank in there. Maybe even Hermit Yoda just to add to survivability. And I believe you will have some pretty solid DPS. Now, you're not going to be taking Snips against these meta teams, right? I mean, you've got probably the Night Sisters, the First Order, the solid Jedi teams, the Sith, those kind of teams. But when you're getting to the end of your opponent's rosters, that 9th team, that 10th team, and they're kind of stretching things out, Snips could be a great option to go in there and get the job done, clean things up. All right, my friends, these are 10 characters that, in my opinion, are probably sleepers that are going to be great for that bottom half of your defense and offense. Again, these are not the characters that are going to be the go-to defensive and offensive teams. I'm completely disregarding those. I think there's a lot of obvious choices in there that are just going to be a given. These are the ones that, in my opinion, will come in handy when you're getting towards the end of your roster and trying to figure out, what am I going to do with these last few spots? What am I going to do on offense? What trios can I build? And it's probably going to change quite a bit as we live into this game mode. And so I definitely recommend getting on Discord servers, chatting with your friends, trying to theory craft, figure things out. And once the game mode does launch and we're actually in our first attack phase, definitely talk to your guild mates and your friends and find out what their experiences are, what's working, what isn't. We'll figure it out, and I'm sure I'll have updated videos here once we actually go through this so we can figure out what is working better in practice. But in theory, these are characters that I think are going to be very useful. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and as always, my brothers, don't forget
my dead body. Sorry about the mess.